much as we see an increase in the inflationary figures, when you go down to the specifics in terms of food, in terms of core, in terms of headline inflation, you'll see that it is moderating and decelerating in increment. Okay, and that's the good news. The tools that the central bank is using is working. It is working. Now, I've said several times, and I'll say again, there's no magic wand. These are things that need to take their own time. I'm confident, and the figures show it themselves, that we are beginning to get some relief.
The central bank governor, Yemi Cardoso, saying that there's no magic wand. Is he throwing in the towel? Isn't that an acceptance that he can't do the job? And how long will Nigerians continue to wait for things to get better when he continues to increase the interest rate? He just increased the interest rate to 26%. This means that no one will be able to obtain any loan in Nigeria. Not that it was easy for people to obtain loans before, but he just made it harder. This will mean that before you can obtain any loan for any venture in Nigeria, that venture must give a return of up to 50%. So that when you repay the loan at 26%, the remaining percentage will take care of your returns and inflation, because right now inflation is at about 33%. What business venture in today's Nigeria can give one a return of 40 or 50%? None. So they are living in an alternate reality. By always increasing the interest rate, it means they are actively pushing the country into recession. At a time when businesses are folding, many companies are leaving Nigeria. The ones that are still operating, they are making huge losses, they are sacking workers en masse, and they can't even obtain loans. If businesses can't obtain loans, how are they going to survive? Are we going to talk about the taxes the CBN is pushing? If not because of the uproar surrounding the cybersecurity levy, they would have gone ahead with it. They are all about taxing the people, taking from the people. What incentive have they given to the people? Giving back to the operators in the economy? None. Are we going to talk about the month-on-month inflation they are showing? Look at this graph. Let's not even debate whether it's true or not. Let's assume that it's true. Does it reflect the reality and the price of goods in the market? No. How much is Gary again? A small pint of Gary is sold for about 3,500 naira to 4,000 naira. What about beans? What about rice? Are people aware that today they are cutting yams in bits so that people will be able to afford them? A small tuber of yam is sold for about 4,000 naira, and that 4,000, many can't afford it, so the sellers cut them into 1,000 a piece so that people will be able to buy the yams. This is the reality under the current administration, and the economic team are busy formulating all sorts of taxes to continue taxing Nigerians when they are supposed to find ways to at least lift the economy to a level where they met it. Not to talk of improving it, because all new administrations must at least improve the situation better than they met it. No, theirs is seeking for IGR. IGR is not a measure of development, never. All the revenue they earned the past year, can they account for it? Did they spend them judiciously? No. To whom much is given, much is expected. They can't account for the ones they earned, but they need more. Even if they are giving $1 trillion, they will still not be able to account for it or point to exactly what they did with it. They will always find ways to retire and spend all the money in a corrupt manner. It's just like people that are clamoring for the division of the country. Will the people that will come out from the divided country be different from the current Nigerians? No. They will be the same people. The problem is with the people, not the country itself, because the country is made up of the people. The country is just a geographical expression. It is the people that inhabit that geographical expression that make all the decisions. They are among the judges, presidents, legislators, police, army, everybody. So a new country will never wash away their sins. It will make them less corrupt. Look at South Sudan. So until the central bank and the economic team do the right thing to solve the fundamental problem that is causing hardship and inflation, which is reflecting on the purchasing power of Nigerians, the country will continue to be on a deep dive. How do you increase the purchasing power of a people? It is not by taxing them. You can't tax your way to prosperity. It never happens. The only way they can do it is to find ways to increase the value of the naira, so that when people go to shop in the market, they will be able to shop like they used to do in the past. If they can't do that, then they must find ways to reduce the cost of goods in the market, either by flooding the market with all sorts of goods so that many goods will be chasing the few naira in circulation, so that what one bought a few weeks ago for 1,000 naira will fall to about 500 naira or less. That's a way of increasing the value of the naira. If they can't do all this, then they must pay Nigerians higher wages. More than 10 years ago, when the minimum wage was still 18,000 naira, that 18,000 naira was worth more than $100. Today, that we have about 30,000 naira as minimum wage, is not worth up to $50. And the government is proposing, they just made a second offer to labor, that they will pay 54,000 naira as minimum wage. While political office holders earn millions of naira every month. Yes, all political office holders, their allowances and basic salaries are in the millions of naira. Look at legislators, look at House of Assembly members, look at assistants and special advisors, and the Nigerian workers that do the job themselves. Because look at the ministries, for instance, it is the civil servants that are responsible for all the jobs. These political appointees, they are just heads, they are just like MDs of banks. So they removed all the subsidies, devalued the naira, increased the electricity tariff, all the benefits that Nigerian workers enjoy. They brought all the hardship. They have to pay for it. There's no free lunch. And the central bank can never absolve themselves from what is happening in Nigeria today. Because when you look at all their policies, how can a central bank demand that banks recapitalize at this time when Nigeria's economy is in a downward spiral? Where do they expect them to raise the capital to recapitalize? When the central bank did the capitalization in the mid-2000s under Soludo, Nigeria's economy was very buoyant at the time, and all the banks went to the market to raise funds. And at that time, most bank offers were oversubscribed because Nigerians were simply buoyant. They had money, the naira was still very valuable against foreign currencies. Can you compare that to today? No, the naira has lost value by as much as 300%. So until they do the right thing, all these problems we're facing today, which of course was caused by them, will never be solved. At the initial stage, they blamed crypto platforms for fixing the exchange rate for Nigeria instead of the central bank. Of course, we all know that it was a lie. Because crypto platforms are banned in Nigeria today, it hasn't stopped the naira from losing value against foreign currencies. So until they do the right thing, governance is not about propaganda or shifting blames. They have to accept responsibility and know that the only way to boost the exchange rate and increase the value of the naira is to go into deep production. Production will make sure that Nigerians are employed. The more Nigerians earn more money, the more you pull them out of poverty, the more taxes the government will earn, and everyone will be better for it. Thanks for watching.